Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Rock and Roll Spock coming at you. Today I'm going to talk about something that another topic I've surprisingly not talked about at all on my channel. That topic would be one of the greatest, depending on who you talk to, science fiction stories ever, Star Wars. I recently rewatched the special editions, or at least one of the DVD release versions thereof, and I got to thinking about the fact of how many fans bemoan all the changes that were made to the original trilogy with the special editions. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those changes are really bad, and I do mean really bad. But some of them aren't all that bad, honestly. Going through each one, and really just major changes. There were, looking at a list online, there were a lot of changes. And a lot of those little things like, oh, hey, we kind of screwed up this little thing here. Let's fix that. Let's fix this matte line, or let's fix this effects shot, make it look a little smoother. But other things were big deals. For example, first off, from A New Hope, the search for the droids. Now, early on in the movie, the stormtroopers are going, on Tatooine looking for R2 and 3PO, and you have that scene of the stormtrooper reaching down, picking up the piece of metal, saying, "Look, sir, droids." Now, previously, in the background, we saw stormtroopers mounted on giant, quote-unquote, lizards called dewbacks. Now, those dewbacks didn't do anything. They just kind of sat there. In fact, as I recall, I could be mistaken on some of the dewbacks were actually cardboard cutouts. However, with the special editions, they were completely redone, and you even see a shot of one walking with a stormtrooper trying to keep on its back. I actually kind of like that. I thought it was a really cool change, and like I said, it fleshed out something more in the Star Wars universe to me, and that's a good thing there. Mos Eisley. Now, this is another one that takes a lot of flack. Personally, I thought it was a good change. It's supposed to be a port town. Look at other port towns, real world port towns. They are busy because they are ports. People are coming in constantly, bringing in goods, bringing in people even. And so you have a lot of hustle and bustle. Initially, in A New Hope, it really didn't have that feel. It kind of came off as a really small town with nothing really going on. But the additional footage added, which now, admittedly, maybe some of it went a little overboard. But things such as the near miss with the swoop and the Ronto, it's stupid, but it's still kind of fun to watch, especially when the Jawa falls off the Ronto. Then, of course, there's the most infamous change made in the special editions. That being Han not getting the first shot off at Greedo, but rather Greedo actually taking a shot at Han before Han shoots. Now, supposedly, the story goes that George Lucas felt that it showed Han to be cold-blooded, and a hero should not be cold-blooded and, not just, blast the bad guy in cold blood. But, hey, and I'm using that term a lot. But Lucas decided, no, Greedo should shoot first. That way, Han is now provoked, and actually provoked, not just, hey, this guy's threatening me, and I kind of just sit over my dead body and kind of said, oh, hey, that's kind of the point, man. So, oh, and look, he just shot me. Well, now I gotta shoot back. No. It was actually fine the way it was initially, with Han just getting the one shot off, getting up, tossing a credit chip towards the bartender, and leaving. That was actually perfect. And Lucas, in my opinion, and in the opinions of many other Star Wars fans, really, really screwed things up with that. But moving on. After that, the next really major difference is the Jabba sequence. Now, the Jabba sequence was originally shot in the 70s with a guy in a fur vest standing in for Jabba the Hutt, because I honestly don't think Lucas knew what Jabba the Hutt was going to look like at that time. And, yeah. There are elements of it that just didn't work then. And additional DVD releases have little by little fixed it, but it still just kind of seems not that great. Whereas, at least not as great as it could be. Now, the addition of Boba Fett, that's actually partially a plus, mainly because of the expanded universe, which now no longer counts. And before I forget, another plus side of the hustle and bustle of Cloud City, or not Cloud City, but Mos Eisley, is the Outrider leaving, which actually confirms one thing from the expanded universe still does exist, that being Dash Rendar and the Outrider. How much of his story still exists, well, maybe we'll find out at some point, but I doubt it. But going back to the Jabba the Hutt scene, the whole thing with Han walking over Jabba, that, I think, when they had to basically change the whole thing to add Jabba's reaction as being stepped on, I think is the point where they should have said, maybe we should just not put this back in here. Maybe we should just leave well enough alone. But moving on from that, the both Falcon lifting off reshot or edition, I can't remember honestly. Yes, it's very obviously CGI, but it does not look terrible. And that's actually what a lot of the little changes are. Like there's a shot of the Sandcrawler coming up before on the way to sell the droids in the beginning. It's obviously CGI, but this was also the 90s. Now, admittedly, yes, ILM is a pioneer in digital effects, but this was also still kind of a new thing for them. Other changes, let's see, the Alderaan and Death Star explosions, with a shockwave coming off of the two. Well, I don't want to call it both planets, but you get the idea. That was actually a very cool thing, and they also did the same thing in Jedi with the second Death Star. Then there was the Luke and Biggs scene, which halfway makes up for the omitted Anchorhead sequence with Luke and Biggs, which was, if I remember correctly, shot, but ended up on the cutting room floor and takes place on Tatooine and has Biggs and Luke talking, and Biggs explaining to Luke that, hey, I've joined the rebellion, And we also get to meet, as I recall, at least one of Luke's friends, maybe another, but it was a little thing, and I don't know. It does to a degree slow down the first part of the movie a little bit. Well, maybe not a lot, but at least a little bit. There's also some additional Rebel fighters in the Battle of Yavin, which is quite nice. There's a shot actually that was kind of a big thing with the. There's an obviously CGI shot of the fighters heading towards the Death Star. There were also quite a few little things. I think the most noteworthy of those being when Han Solo is chasing down the stormtroopers in the Death Star. He's got that whole moment of just yelling as he runs after them, and then he turns a corner. And before it was a dead end, but there's a whole bunch of stormtroopers there, and he just kind of, figuratively speaking, craps himself, fires, and runs back the way he came. now he comes upon what looks to be a docking bay, and there's a whole bunch of troopers there, and he really has reason to crap himself. Anyway, that's really all I can really say about the changes for New Hope. Moving on to Empire. Empire didn't really have a lot of major, huge changes, at least at first in special editions. Later versions did have additional changes, but we're really just talking about the 97 versions. I might bring up some of the later DVD versions as well, but yeah. First off, the Wampa footage. Did we really need to have all that extra stuff with the Wampa? Because, when it just shows up real briefly and, we just see a close-up of his face, and then the hand knocks Luke off of his tauntaun, and then the hand grabs the tauntaun, and we see the legs that drags him away. That actually kind of comes off as a fearsome creature. It's like, holy crap, what is this thing? It just smacked the hero in the face, and it's now dragging him away. What's gonna happen? Is he still honestly the hero? But then we get this sequence added in where we see pretty much a full body shot of the Wampa eating something, most likely the tauntaun that Luke was riding on, and then another pretty obvious shot of, hey, this is the Wampa after Luke cuts off its arm, and it just looks goofy. Like, seriously, like that is the creature that just smacked our hero off of his snow horse. What the hell? I know it's called a tauntaun. I'm well aware of this. Snow horse was just kind of a spur of the moment thing I just came up with. Now, some additional Cloud City exterior shots, those are great. It really adds depth to the location. Some of the interiors were added to as well, though maybe the costuming department could have been a little bit more on point with making people look like they should be on Cloud City as opposed to Beverly Hills. Then another Cloud City moment is after Vader has defeated Luke in their lightsaber duel, he's leaving, and a group of Imperial troopers and officers are with him, and he gets aboard his shuttle and goes back to the Executor, his Super Star Destroyer, and then you have this whole sequence with it, and it just seemed pointless. It just kind of seemed, hey, you know what? Let's do this whole shot with Vader leaving Cloud City. I'm pretty sure we understood he left Cloud City. We didn't need to see the details. That's really with Empire. A lot of little things were really just touch-ups or little fixes here and there, which again, very good, very good. Moving on to Jedi. First off, we got that the trio of band members in Jabba's palace becomes a 12-piece band. Now, don't get me wrong, the drummers were kind of cool. Hell, even the horn players were kind of neat. But the extra dancers, CGI-sized noodles. Well, it looked better than the puppets sometimes. That's really the best I can say about that. And then you got the frickin' guy the lead singer, the male singer of the band. What the hell? I mean, it was, again, this is one of those, it was fine how it was. It didn't need a whole bunch of additional things added in. Next up, now, one cool thing was the Ula, the dancing girl we see early on in Jabba's palace. With green skin and the kind of fishnet outfit. Additional scene, she gets fed to the Rancor, as anyone who's watched Jedi and at least somewhat remembers it would remember. But added in was footage of her falling into the Rancor pit and some close-ups of her as she meets her fate. Now, the cool thing is that The footage was actually shot in 1996, not back in the 80s. This was not deleted footage that they decided to restore. It was the same actress who was in fact in as good if not better shape at that point than she was when she shot Jedi in the first place. And so, I guess props on that. Well done. That was very cool. Another a little thing that was added was that honestly I could take her leave. As Luke and as Jabba is taking Luke, Han, and so on and so forth out to the Sarlacc pit. There's a herd of bandas scene. That's one of those I could, that could be there or not. I really wouldn't care either way. If anything, it's kind of it does add to a location, but we already know banthas are on Tatooine. We've seen sand people ride them, so we didn't need to see a frickin' herd of them. Hell, what are the hell? And it kind of seems weird that they're herding, but because they seem like creatures that would not just be herding around a desert. But hey, I actually don't know too much about banthas. At least what's been said in any expanded universe supplements. Now, then we have another, in my opinion at least, infamous change, the Sarlacc. Now, originally in Jedi, the Sarlacc was basically just this hole in the ground with spines and tentacles. And it looked kind of cheap. But it was a simple thing. Hey, people fell in, that was that. Then, Special Edition comes along, hey, you know what, let's add this sandworm thing to it. And that was just stupid. Why? Why add a sandworm? This isn't Dune. Are you trying to turn Star Wars into Dune? If so, that's just kind of weird. As I mentioned earlier, the Death Star 2 the second Death Star's explosion is enhanced with the shockwave. Again, there was a whole lot of tweaking on things, fixing matte lines, fixing color palettes, etc., etc. Then you have the celebration scenes. Some of these are really cool. For example, it's the first time we saw Coruscant, the Imperial Throne World, in any of the movies. Was just this brief sequence showing everyone celebrating the death of the Emperor. And if you look closely during it, you'll notice that his statue, a statue he has, falls. Now, an interesting point. Sadly, I was actually reminded of that when. Never mind. That's a topic for another time. But yeah, it was a really cool concept of, hey, the people of Coruscant bringing down this giant statue. The other celebration scenes include Mos Eisley, which showing again this is a very populous city, and they are quite happy to be free of the Empire. And then you've also got Cloud City, which hey, more celebrations going on. Now the only down thing to these celebrations really it gives the idea that the Emperor died and boom, the Empire was done with. That they just universally gave up, as opposed to what was basically set up in the books I can't really say one way or the other about Episode 7, but what might be set up in Episode 7 that various warlords and officers stuck around saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to be the new Emperor. And I'm going to crush these rebels. I'm going to do what Palpatine couldn't do. They're also very heavily CGI'd. A fourth one was added onto the DVD releases with Naboo and a Gungan. Well, lots of Gungans obvious, and one actually shouting "Wisa free." But well, hey, yeah. Anywho, that's really all I got on these. If you like the video, like it, share it, Subscribe to the channel if you want. That's all I got for now. We'll be back. We'll try to be back in a week with another video, maybe sooner. This is Rock and Roll Spock saying, "Live long, rock hard."